Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is November 22nd, YC126, and this is the Eve Universe Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Settle on in. Welcome if you're new. Like the stream. How's it going, guys? What you guys up to? Good to see everybody who's showed up so far. We do have some news to go over. CCP hasn't given us a lot of information about what's coming, but we do have some information from Hobo Leaks to go into. We have a New Eden news to cover. And I have some Eve Galaxy Conquest stuff to discuss. So, coffee. Yeah, I've got my coffee in my Malro mug, which is very nice. I also have an invited mug. Both of them are available for merch. And it does remind me, I do want to thank every single one of you who have taken the opportunity or have decided to support my channel either by becoming a member, becoming a patron, buying merch, whatever it is. Like, I was reminded this week how truly blessed I am to be able to do this stuff. So, you saw the ground break stuff. Can you send me what you're talking about just so I can make sure that I saw it? But yeah, no, I don't live high on the hog, but I get to have my puppy and my kitty and my son, and it's fantastic, and I appreciate it. So that said, we are going to jump into the news. We found out, or we got the information about the Winter Nexus, which is coming on the 5th of December. The Winter Nexus is one of the two seemingly guaranteed events that we're getting every year, with the other being Crimson Harvest. And in my opinion, the Winter Nexus is the better one. The storm is coming. Yes, I am interested in Ground Break. I just don't know exactly which video you're talking about. Hold on. Either way, so where are we going? I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Winter Nexus. Every time I see Storm is coming screenshot, I think stop eating Taco Bell to jump. Oof. All right, so. Oh yeah, we got that. Did I not cover that already? We'll make sure to cover that too. I thought we covered this last time. Didn't I cover this last time? Somebody let me know. Okay. Winter Nexus, though. The Winter Nexus is kind of an important event for people. First of all, it is often the most lucrative of the events. CCP really wants the Winter Nexus to be a positive experience for most people. So the rewards are tuned up a little bit. Now, that, who knows, because, the new team has been managing the events. It seems like the events have been tuned down a little bit in their rewards, but not terribly. But Winter Nexus is usually the best event when it comes to just ISK per site. The other cool thing about it is, we'll read this and then I'll talk about it, okay? Chilly Capsuleers, prepare for the wintry thrills of the Winter Nexus as the New Eden's coolest event returns from 5 of December to 7 of January. That is one of the things about it. It is always a very long event. Now, they have lengthened the time of events too, but Winter Nexus has always been a fairly long event because it's an event that legitimately CCP has told me that they like it because they just turn it on and then they go to winter vacation, and it like keeps us happy that whole time, basically. So, this stream better be good. I'm eating into my your asthma gold time. Well, I mean, you'd let me know in the end whether or not it was worth it. I don't know. I can't say I compete with such. The storms are coming. The storms are forecasted. Hey, look, the storm is coming. Forecasted across high sec, low sec, and null sec. Is that what the Deathless was just talking about? He's just talking about Winter Nexus. That's all it was. That's the entire, all of that stuff about the storm is coming and we better prepare and all that sort of stuff. He's literally just talking about Christmas, guys. No, what they're talking about is what's Jolly saying deathless. What they're talking about here is there are metaliminal storms. Metaliminal storms are these stellar anomalies that happen mostly in nullsec. Is my desk messy like Asmongold? At the moment, ish. Not as bad, no, but I'm not proud of it at the moment. I'll say that. Okay, but okay. So metaliminal storms exist in nullsec, and they contain a central system, and it spreads out from there. And they're related to the various weather effects of the abyss, right? The idea is that abyssal effects are leaking into known space thanks to all of the space-time manipulations that we've done in the last several years, going into the abyss, et cetera, et cetera. The Winter Nexus uses this technology to introduce a bunch of winter storms, metaliminal storms, that affect everything within them, and is where these sites spawn. And in addition to that, there are special filaments, reindeer filaments, that are released that allow you to teleport to those winter event sites, or at least the storms themselves. And the storms move every day. There are some in high sec, some in low sec, some in null sec, etc. So either way, transforming systems into stunning wintry arenas for you to navigate, offering unique challenges and treasures. Get ready to fight fearsome Sancha forces with your battlecruiser, battleship, or heavy assault cruiser. Prepare your scanners to find and unlock riches in a frigid exploration sites and put your hacking prowess to the test. Start warming up your warp drives to dive into profitable Yule Festival resource sites to gain resources and rewards. So that is true about the about Winter at Nexus, is that it has combat sites, exploration sites, and mining sites. And those mining sites are actually kind of interesting. We'll talk about them when we get there. In the heart of volatile ice storms, that's what they're called, Capsuleers will also benefit from enhanced thermal resistances and increased module overheating durability, turning every system into a new tactical experience. Actually, agency available for once instead of the messaging being lol, deathless, or GTFO. Yeah, you're able to work for both sides. One thing at a time. So, one thing I will say about these volatile ice storms, okay? Because this is going to happen. This happens every year, all right? When people start complaining that there's snow in space, just remind them that it's not actually snow. It is millions and billions of micro wormholes absorbing the thermal energy of known space into the abyss. That is canonically what is happening. It is not snow. All right. Every day, the Winter Nexus will bring new rewards, including Evermarks, design components, skins, and up to 650,000 skill points, with Omega pilots earning both Alpha and Omega track rewards. The 25th day of entering the Winter Storms brings the ultimate boost, 75,000 SP for Alphas, and a total of 325,000 SP for Omegas. So remember, so this thing is going to go from the 5th of December to the 7th of January. So it's 33 days. But you only need to be part of it for 25 days to get the big prize. And then after that will just be random boosters or whatever. If my merc contracts weren't held but very tight dog leash from Faithful True to CCP Games. I'm not sure what you're talking about yet, but reap the riches. Increase the size of your Winter Nexus stocking to upgrade to Omega and getting bigger and better presents. Enjoy more skill points, Evermarks, exclusive skins, and much more as you dive into the storm. Seize your riches. And make this a season to remember. Okay, so they're actually not going to talk about it yet. So basically, the combat sites are open, right? Like battleships can do it. It's fine. I actually don't remember the details of the winter sites off the top of my head. They're going to be probably basically the exact same as last year or the year before, so you can watch all of those videos in order to get some idea. And of course, we'll be showing it off here. And there are fits for it on the winter on the Eve workbench. In fact, I probably even have a couple on there, which will be good again this year, almost certainly. But not only that, so you've got the combat sites, you've got the hacking sites, which are pretty typical hacking sites. But then there's the mining sites, and that's kind of the most interesting one because they only allow mining barges, mining frigates, and like the porpoise and some haulers. Yeah, Yes, strategically transferring equipment to alternative locations is not stealing. That's correct. So the interesting thing about those sites is that, generally speaking, the mining frigates are the best, although some people end up using mining barges. But the problem is that the drop-off point for the ice that you're mining is far enough away from where the ice is that, generally speaking, I personally like to use an endurance in order to do it, and then shuttle it back and forth. There are other ways to do it, obviously. The one thing I will note is that ventures cannot carry enough ice to turn in, which means if you see a venture in near one of these sites in low sec or null sec, they're coming in to try to kill you, because ventures actually become combat ships during the Winter Nexus site event. So that's fun. Either way, I look forward to it. Are you looking forward to it? It looks like we're going to get we usually get Aurora Universalis skins for free. There is skins available in the store during that time, etc., etc. So looking forward to that next month. There's still combat ships when in low sec enums. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Did we? I don't know if we covered Vanguard stuff yet last time. Did we cover Vanguard stuff last time? Oh, hey Zoe. Hey, Zoe, you coming up? You want up? Uppies? You gonna look at me like I'm silly? Waste my time? Come on. Come on. No? Okay. There we go. Bees. All right. Almost knocked off my tablet. Did not. All right. Say hi, Zoria. Here. Zoria, my co-pilot. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah. But I will say that from the 28th of November, 9th of December, we'll be doing the Vanguard test. I'll be there. Yeah, we did cover this. It's available to alphas and omegas. Make sure to get ready for it, etc., etc. I covered it last time. Today, we did get some patch notes in the continued attempts of CCP to desperately make nullsec happy. We have adjusted the refactored NPC warp-in behavior and spawns and some nullsec anomalies to make their warp-ins much more compact, which will make these anomalies much better for AoE farming, Stormbringer, Thunderchild, and Smart Bombing. All havens, both the Stargate Rock Haven and Chemical Factory Gas Haven variation, all drone hordes and patrol sites, and the regular base version of the rally points. So basically, when the rats warp in, when they changed prior to this, the change in whatever expansion we're in now, Revenant, when the rats would just like kind of spawn in the middle or in different set points, and they would all kind of spawn together and then spread out a little bit. But if you had something like a Stormbringer, you would just be able to zop them all at the same time. Very, very effective. So when they made them warp in, not only did this make it take a little bit more time for the rats to spawn, which time is money, but it also made it so that they warped in at slightly different times, and they were too spread out. They were, I think, 15 or 20 kilometers apart from each other, and the Stormbringer only bounces 10 kilometers. So you couldn't actually like AoE farm anymore, and this made a lot of people sad. Now, they did increase the bounties to make up for that loss in time, but now they're also making it so that the rats are closer together again, allowing those things like the Stormbringer to get work done still. They do say that last week that we increased the NPC bounties to counteract the income reduction caused by NPC warp-ins instead of spawning in place. We are maintaining the 30 to 40% NPC bounty increase we made last week, which has already increased total nullsec bounties to higher than they were before Revenant. However, with the addition of this set of changes, we'll be monitoring the economy, and we will potentially be making adjustments to bonuses or anomalies if needed in the future. So make hay while it shines, while the sun shines. You know, honestly, at this point, I'm getting to the point where I need somebody from nullsec to explain to me why they're still mad. You know, they've buffed the mining sites over and over again to the point where I believe that it's now pretty much guaranteed that the mining sites will have more than it did before. I guess theoretically you still have smaller rocks to be mad at, but whatever. You know, the bounties are now higher than they ever were before. In fact, bounties just keep on getting buffed and buffed and buffed. Every time they do something that reduces the bounties stuff, they then later have to buff it to make it higher than it was before. They did the same thing with dynamic bounty system. So I'm mad because now there'll be more bots in null, deduce bounties, increase loot. Yeah, I mean, that's actually an interesting idea where moving more of the value towards loot from bounties could be really cool. And what's sad is that as much as people complain about bots, the people that are hunting people, first of all, not all of them are bots. Many of them are just semi-AFK mindless grinders, right? And let's be honest, that's who a lot of the roaming people in nullsec, a lot of these elite PvPers that talk about how great they are in PvP, many of them are just roaming around looking for AFK people to gank. So, yeah, as Grim of the Mad says, more bots means more targets. So I hesitate to say this is going to be more bots, but it does mean more farmers, more people mindlessly farming. I personally like the idea of Stormbringer Thunderchild related ratting. That's actually kind of a cool idea for me, but either way. Why did I get an expert system for a new destroyer, but I can't get the new ship to use it? I don't know. You know, so actually, I will discuss this right now. So the Tholos and the Cenotaph recently came out, and there's been a lot of consternation because they're extremely expensive. But let's talk about why they're extremely expensive, okay? They're extremely expensive because of the amount of work it takes to actually begin to produce them, right? One of the things that's interesting to note is that when they described the introduction of the Tholos and the Cenotaph, it kind of seemed like they were still more or less in production. We are doing the last pieces to get it ready to go almost. And so you have to either turn in a ton of Atavum, which Atavum only come from relic sites, and you would have to do hundreds of, like 100 relic sites or so to be able to get enough Atavum to unlock even the smallest thing in there. Likewise, after like 2-3 days of uninterrupted, unmolested extraction of 2 skyhooks of encrypted infomorphs, I had like a fifth of the infomorphs required to buy like the skill book. So these numbers are extremely high for how to get it. Now, we talked about this before. When next week, when they increase or when they introduce the new sites to the skyhooks or the mercenary dens and the new mechanics of like development and anarchy, that should increase the number of infomorphs that exist out there. Also, as people begin to put down mercenary dens, get them harvested, and get them moved, we see that supply go up and the cost go down. But the whole point of this is that CCP, like, it's not a bad thing that a Tholos right now is several billion ISK. It's that way because this is the very, very beginning. This is how every single thing in EVE goes, is that like the very first one is like super, super expensive as supply lines begin to adapt and all that stuff. And then it drops down, right? But they made it so that these ships actually take a long time to fully integrate into the ecology, the whatever, the meta of the game, which is probably important given how disruptive these ships are, because now they're super expensive, which means people are going to be fielding it under limited, you know, you're going to field a Tholos much more carefully or rarely when it costs $1 billion ISK than when it costs 150 million ISK, right? So they're able to see how these ships perform in the world as they're being picked up by a couple of people here and there, and before it's just a giant problem spread out. So what we're seeing is the universe itself is slowly accustoming itself to the existence of these new mechanics. Not to mention that Adavum have an ISK floor with SOCT buy orders at 500K. Both Adavum and Infomorphs have a floor, but the value that they have because of Zarzak is so high. Like, I would be surprised if it ever hit that floor. You built your own Tholos and Cenotaph on day one. How much? I kind of want to hear that story. But yeah, so why would they add the expert system? I don't know, man. Probably because it sounded like a good thing to do at the time. Obviously, it'll stay in your thing for a while. Let's go look at it, actually. Let's see if it's useful to anybody. Oh, you bought a bunch of Adavum when it was worthless. Ah, yeah. Yeah, you would be one of the people that would do that, wouldn't you? I did not suspect how many Adavum it was going to be required. I remember the first time I went out hacking and I got like 9 Adavum and I brought it back to the Fulcrum and I'm like, here's my Adavum. I've got 9 of them. What do I get? And they're like, you're like less than a third of the way there. And I was like, oh, okay. But even now, like, it's way more than that even. We showed off the exact numbers before. Either way. So let's look at this expert system. Can I look at this expert system? Expert systems. No. Can I look up Deathless? Is that gonna? Hey, it did. Sweet. It unlocks the Tholos only. Hold on. Well, okay, so you get. My cat and dog are fighting. I mean, you get a lot of good skills. You get drones 5. Let me tell you. People ask me what to spend my million SP on, and I go, well, the million free SP that you get for using the link down below and using my referral link, or rather using the referral link of one of the people that helped support the Convocation of Empyreans. Either way, when people ask, what do I do with that million SP? I say, save it. There will come a day where there's something that you want to do, and the only thing between you and it right this second is a lack of skill points. And in that moment, you're going to want those unallocated skill points. Don't just spend them to progress your skill plan forward. It may feel good in the moment, but later on, you're going to want those skill points. So, but on the other hand, Drones 5. Drones 5. Drones 5 is, in my opinion, the #1 skill outside of the Magic 14 for somebody to train. It should be the first. My friend of mine bought 6,000 or 7,000 from Jita beforehand. She spent like 6 billion and made 37 billion off the Tholos. See, some people were thinking. At any rate, Drones 5 is incredibly important. If you fly the Tristan or the Algos, Drones 5 is basically necessary. It is what's required to fly 5 drones. So at a certain point, almost every ship relies on Drones 5. It's the only skill that I think that CCP should, like, a lot of people are like, oh, get rid of power grid upgrades or get rid of, whatever. Drones 5, in my opinion, is probably the skill that should be removed or just given to everybody because, hybrid weapons you don't have to train a skill in order to use all your guns. Sure, they get stronger, but you don't have to train medium projectile turrets in order to have enough turrets. Stop. No. Okay. Well, so Drones 5 is actually a really good thing for a new player to have if you get this Deathless Expert system, even if you're not going to use the Tholos. Gunnery 5 is also really good. I mean, these are just solid new player, I guess, Kaldari and Minmatar skill stuff. If you want to fly a good Thrasher or, obviously, Galente Destroyer, you'd have to have trained, but, with Galente skills, These are the exact same skills that, well, no, because it's projectiles. Well, either way, New Tristan would be great with this. You know, et cetera, et cetera. My point is that there are uses for this expert system, even if you don't get a Tholos. All right. Hey. Ugh. Let's not be barking. Let's not be barking during my show, okay? Okay? Can we not bark during my show? Can we at least get that much? She does not bark for the only thing she barks at is the cat. Anyway, okay. Also, the observatory flashpoint got tweaked again. Remember, they made some pretty significant changes to the Operation Flashpoint, and now they're just like dialing in a little bit because of the stuff that didn't necessarily work out. But that's about it for the patch notes. However, it was noted a couple times that Singularity has been updated a couple of times recently. The last time, 8 hours and 22 minutes ago. And there's a lot of information about what might be coming soon. So let's draw a little line right here. We talked about patch notes. These are things that are happening now. These are things that might be, probably are happening, but we can't be for sure. You know, obviously this is the test server, so it may not come to Tranquility, although I literally cannot remember the last time that a change was made on the test server that didn't come to Tranquility, so keep that in mind. So the EOS gets their drone optimal range bonus slashed from 10 to 5. I do know that EOS fleets have become pretty popular, and using them as snipers is very strong. EOSs, when they're reworked, were designed to work with sentry drones. That's why they have tracking speed and optimal range. This cuts their bonus to optimal range in half, from 50% to 25% total. Which means that you're going to have to recalibrate which drones you use at which ranges when you're flying an EOS. The Scythe is gaining 30 power grid, which is almost 10%. They need to remove drone slaving. I mean, it can be valuable, or it can be it can be good, it can be bad. They did nerf it a long time ago that made it so you can only have 50 drones. Maybe they should cut it down. Maybe it should be only 20. But there's a lot of other situations where drone bunnies and stuff like that are a good thing. So it's hard to say. Finger of Death is very strong, though. That's when you get a bunch of drones, like a bunch of sentries, all slaved to one person, and that one person fires. It makes all of those drones fire at once. It's a huge alpha strike. Standard 3. Okay, so this is a big one. The Standard Cerebral Accelerator. What is that? It has had all of its modifiers increased from 3 to 5, but it's had its damage multiplier bonus removed and its rate of fire bonus removed. But Ashtarothi, wait, a Cerebral Accelerator has damage bonus? This Standard Cerebral Accelerator is the one that's given to new players. This can only be used when you're 30 days or less. And so the idea is to like help boost their damage a little bit in the meantime. This is also used to help get like alpha clones, like the up to speed a little bit, or whatever. So what they've done is they've increased the training speed of it, but removed that damage bonus, which is probably pretty good because a lot of people were using it to get catalysts able to do more damage. So there you go. The Coveter, basically all of the mining barges and exhumers has had their maximum locked targets increased, with mining barges, the Coveter, Retriever, and Procurer having increased from 5 to 6, and the Hulk, Skiff, and Mackinac increased from 6 to 8. Yes. Now, the Procurer has also gotten an inertia modifier reduced by like almost a quarter, and its mid slots increased from 2 to 3. This is actually a big deal. When they redid the balancing of the different ships, of the different mining barges and stuff last time, they removed one of the mid slots from the Procure and Skiff, even as they made it tankier. And so people were like, what's going on? What, like, they've actually made the Skiff and Procure technically less tanky, even though they gave it a buff in its stats by removing a mid slot. Like, mid slots are where shield tanks go. So they're giving that mid slot back to the Procure and Skiff, making them even more formidable ships for surviving in combat, even though it's a mining ship. Battle skiffs are awesome. Why are you throwing things in the trash? What's wrong, Flea? The Ashimu. Oh, good riddance to that booster. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, standard cerebral accelerators were always kind of weird and lame. Yeah, lets me lock an extra rock in my trig miner system. That's exactly a big point to this, right? In fact, the 5 to 6 and the 6 to 8 both means that the mining barge can lock an extra lock in Pochfin. Because remember, Pochfin cuts your locks in half, so does trig miner victories. So the 5 becomes 2, but the 6 becomes 3. So that's a whole extra lock. And of course, the 6 to 8 goes from 3 to 4 in Pochfin and trig miner victory system. So that's a whole extra lock for all your mining ships in those areas. The Ashimu gains 7 maximum velocity. It loses 0.03 inertia modifier. It gains 10 drone capacity and bandwidth, which means now the Ashimu can fly a full flight of 5 drones, if you have drones 5, 5 medium drones at that, which is a pretty good deal. The Kruger, which is the frigate, gained 10 to its maximum velocity, lost 0.2 to its inertia, and then, of course, doubled its drone capacity from 5 to 10. So now you've got 2 light drones instead of 1. The EOS, yeah, this is the EOS's command ship bonus being reduced by half. The Skiff also lost inertia modifier as well. You know, on top of the medium slot and the maximum locked target, they also lost some inertia modifier, which I believe will make them a little bit more agile. So they'll get up to speed, they'll warp a little bit faster, etc., etc. The Mollusk Navy issue is getting buffed. They gain 3 power grid and an additional high slot, which is pretty cool. And 10 extra maximum velocity. So a little bit faster, a little bit more power grid, but that power grid is probably for that extra high slot. I'm interested to see what people like Spoons are going to do with that. The Mollusk Navy issue was already pretty good, but this makes it a lot stronger. The Mollusk Navy issue is pretty good, but pretty good because it has a really strong scram bonus. So it's good at like scramming people that have like warp core stability. So it's a good like gate camper or something along those lines. But it always has kind of been a little bit behind the other electronic warfare frigates, Navy frigates rather. So hopefully this helps out a little bit. I'm happy that the battle skiffs and procs are actually back now. They were hurt more than most people realized by the mid-slot loss. Oh, a lot of people realized it. So here's a good one. The excavator mining drone, maximum velocity increased from 175 to 250. And the excavator ice harvesting drone is maximum velocity from 90 to 125. This is funny because as far as from what I've heard, this might be a meta-breaking change. So this is how it's been explained to me. I'm not a really big Rockwall miner, but this is oddly a very strangely big, like, speeding up the ice harvesting drone is a nerf to the Rockwall. Allow me to explain. Basically, the ice mining drone goes so slowly that if you position yourself at the right distance from the rock, it will travel to the rock and start mining. But by the time it finishes mining, it hasn't even left like your area of effect. And so as soon as it finishes mining, it just dumps it off and then goes again. But you can basically recall it instantly whenever you want, right? Because it doesn't move fast enough to get onto the backside of the rock or something like that, to get away from the rock wall. So with this, it actually, it's now going to be fast enough to get away from the rock wall, leaving the ice harvesting drone more exposed in the event of somebody dropping on them or whatever. So, and it's also going to make it so ice mining might be a little bit slower in a weird way, even though it is technically moving faster. That is my understanding. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. You know, it's a funny thing that my buddy who's in nullsec, when I was reading all this stuff, that was the one that he keyed on. I was like, oh my God, that's a big deal. So there you go. The Ferox Navy issue has had its inertia modifier increased by 0.03. The maximum targeting range has been reduced by 7,500 meters, and its signature radius has been increased by 25. I'm looking at the diff between Tranquility and Singularity, because this is not on Tranquility yet. This is on Singularity. So the Ferox Navy issue has been a big, you know, a pretty successful ship. Now, what's interesting is that the Ferox Navy issue is a little bit more close range than the original Ferox, at least in theory, based on its stats. It has been pretty strong, so maybe this is bringing it a little bit more in line, and more importantly, trying to bring it in a little bit more by reducing its maximum targeting range. And then, so now the Angel Cartel fob and the Garissa's Pirate fob has had their maximum target range slashed in half. So from my understanding, the reason why this is happening is because a few things. Basically, when people jump in, they're so scattered and the tether range is so big that it's hard to like get somebody who's on the fob. You've got way too much like situational flexibility, especially if the anti-pirates are attempting to attack the fob. You know, with all structures, there's actually this problem where the defenders get to basically stay immune and tethered as long as they want and position themselves wherever they want and then strike when they want. So this kind of tightens everything up a little bit and hopefully helps out with that. That's the standard cerebral accelerator change. That's the standard cerebral accelerator change. Was there any image changes? I don't think so. Nope. And that's it for Hobolique. So those are all little balance changes that looks like they are coming sooner rather than later, but they aren't here yet. We will keep an eye on Hoboliques because these actually came out over 2 days, so there might be more to come. What is next? Next, Black Friday exclusive. There is a new sale out that is giving away a bunch of skins along with, you know, Omega time, etc. And so if you get 1 month of Omega, hey, Ara Danica, thank you for that. 07 to you. Okay, so with 1 skin, you get the Tholos, which is fine. With 2 skins, this is where we start to run into some problems, okay? Somebody remind me. I think, I want to believe that at some point, I remember there was a whole thing where it was like the marketing team put out a skin that was super confusing as to why they did that one. I can't remember what it was, though. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick. Was it the monitor? Was it the monitor Capsuleer Day skin? No. Was it? I don't remember what it was. I could have sworn they recently gave away a skin that didn't make no sense. Well, they upped it this time with the Empyrean Outlaw. Oh, it's the Prime. You're right. You're right. Oh, wow. They show the particle effect now. That's cool. So the Prime got the... Was it the Equinox era skin? Yeah. The Prime got the Equinox era skin, which was super confusing to me because the Prime is a limited edition ship, kind of crappy, completely replaced by the Epithal, which is also completely replaced by the new Upwell ships. I think it was given away for if I remember correctly, it was a Twitch drop. I could be wrong though. It might have been a track reward. But let me tell you right now, this one takes the cake for me. So let me actually see something real quick. Because I've never seen the particle effect working in the viewer. So that's new. I think I have the Mecha Ball. This one doesn't do it. Okay, so this is what's so weird about this, okay? This effect right here that you're seeing here, this is the effect that's supposed to happen when you get a killing blow with the ship, right? It's a special thing that happens. So, like, this skull here will do the same flash of lightning when you get a killing blow with the Mecha Ball, right? However, the Monitor is an FC ship. It's designed to keep the FC on field and nothing else. So if we look, there's one high-powered slot, but there's no hard points. You literally cannot fit a weapon on this ship. It also has no drones. There is no offensive capabilities on this ship. The one thing it can do is a target painter, and that target painter has a 99% effectiveness reduction. So you can target paint, and that's it, and that target painting doesn't do anything. That's like the only thing that the Monitor can do. So assuming that this effect, the lightning effect, only happens when you get a killing blow, how are you ever going to get the lightning effect on this ship? Or are they trying to say that this lightning effect is just always going to be on with the Monitor? I don't know. But either way, I find it extremely bizarre for the Monitor, which is an incredibly niche ship, to be the second reward on the track, or on the incremental purchasing. Monitor gets effect on armor damage. Is that... Wait, hold on. Do you know that for a fact? Where'd you get that from? Oh, according to Marquis Dragon. All right. Well, I find it incredibly bizarre that they are introducing... Oh, it's in the article. Okay, great. The skin should be for the Enforcer. Yep. Or when armor damage is taken in the case of the Monitor. So they knew that the Monitor was like what the Monitor was, right? This wasn't like, oh, let's put it on a special edition ship and put it on the Prime. Like, they knew that the Monitor had this problem enough that they had to change how the effect works. But it's not like everybody's running around with monitors. Like, the Tholos is going to become increasingly more common. But the thing is that, like, the cheaper the pack, the cheaper that skin will be on the market. So now the second cheapest Empyrean Outlaw skin from this set is going to be for the Monitor. It's just weird to me. Any rate, at 6 months, you get the Drake Navy issue. At 12 months, you get the Cenotaph. And at 5 months, you get the Scorpion Navy issue. At least they fixed it. Originally, this said that you would get the Widow. This originally said that you got the Widow, but it turned out that you only got the Scorpion Navy issue. So at least they've now updated the page. Oh, I'm not showing it. At least they updated the page to show that it's the Scorpion Navy issue. So there was a little bit of problems when it came to rolling out this one. But if we go to Hobo Leaks, one of the things I do want to show off is the fact that, like, in case you thought, like, well, to make this whole situation a little bit more bizarre, so they added in the Tholos, the Cenotaph, the Enforcer. So they did put in the Enforcer. They could have made it the Enforcer. They didn't. They made it the Monitor. Because they put, if you look, they put it on all of the, like, Drake Navy issue and the Nighthawk. They put it on the Scorpion Navy issue and the Widow. So it could have been the Widow too, but they messed that one up. The Harpy, we still haven't seen. And I think that's it. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but they are really cool skins. I do like them. It's up to you. I will say that, like, expect this to be the first of many sales over the next, like, couple of months. So, you know, if you're looking to buy some Omega, it's a good idea. These skins are really cool and sell pretty good because they are really cool. But, I mean, I'm not jumping over a fence to go and buy them. The Enforcer used so much that they decided to not give it a nice skin, too OP. It makes me sad. Maybe going by ships that share the same hull as previous or upcoming. Well, yeah, I mean, like, it could very well be that it's upcoming, but that means that, like, well, I guess wait for when the Enforcer shows up, I suppose. Hold on, I do like the fact that it shows the particle effect here. It's actually pretty cool. It makes me wonder, did it do that? I remember before there were a lot of particle effects that just didn't show up on the browser or, like, in the skin viewer. Now I can't think of one. But either way. The Concord Victory skin is so fun. All right. But let's transition. Check the rabbit skins. Oh, yeah. Red Sun. No? Star? Red Star? Hey, Gary. Red Stargazer. The problem with that is that the particle effect that we would be looking for involved the ship moving. So that probably won't show up, and I'm not seeing it. Because that particle effect is based on your ship's... Oh, I did see a little... Yep, I did see it. But it's only one little tiny trickle because this ship isn't moving. So you can see it very, very barely. And then, of course, the Universalis skin. This is the one that we're going to get for the Winter Nexus event. Not necessarily for this ship, but, you know, in general. Speaking of which, what did we see on the Winter Nexus event page? We see a Nyx, a Nyx, a Marshall, and a Arc, probably. Do those already have one? I'm not seeing it. So yeah, chances are those are going to be some of the ones that are introduced. Wait. I think I remember. Hold on. Yeah. Wait, that's the Luminae Polaris skins. Nope. Need more Cryptic Mimesis skins? No kidding. I agree. They need to re-release the like. As much as I hate the idea of it, they need to re-release the Cryptic Mimesis skins. It's not fair that people can't get it nowadays. All right. Now then, let's see. We are an hour and 18 minutes in, and it's time for the New Eden news. So let's go ahead and transition to that. Anything else before we do? Nope. All right. Could tie it to the Rogue Drone expanded content. Hint, hint to the lurking devs. Yeah, I agree. I also... Okay. I know this is impossible. Okay? Or at least not impossible, but like not currently feasible with the level of technology that we have. But I really, really, really want the ability to apply specific particle effects or other effects via Skinner, right? Like, if I could turn any ship into Cryptic Mimesis and even maybe move around where the holes are in the hull, that would be awesome. I don't know how hard that would be. I want to believe that you could technically do it, but it would be a lot. So that's my Christmas wish, I guess. All right. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and this is your New Eden news for November 21st, YC126, Zarzak Report, Shikari Consequences, and the Deathless. Disclaimer. The scope cannot verify the veracity of this individual's account of events, and their opinions do not represent the opinions of the scope. We trust that our readers have the capacity to decide for themselves what is an appropriate degree of skepticism to apply to the following narrative. My decisions often begin life as they exit my mouth, long before they have made my way to my brain. By that time, the opportunity to avoid any particular outcome has long since passed, freeing me of any need for the pretense of foresight. Yet, as I was marched through dark corridors, flanked on either side by the augmented face of the deathless agents, a thought did occur to me without first being voiced. The thought that perhaps my actions do have consequences. Broadly speaking, the missives I forward to you have engendered two equally powerful yet opposite reactions in Zarzak's residence. The first and most surprising of these is delight. Strangers calling me the Report Lady, desperately thrust free beverages into my hand. While I may not cherish the name, the drinks themselves are appreciated. I find this reaction the most common with the newly emboldened clones that have recently began pouring into the fulcrum. Their former lives haunting Upwell skyhooks were drab enough that reading the scopes qualified as entertainment. Since they began arriving, they have been introduced to a wide array of drinking songs that demonstrate great poetic skill, entirely focused on identifying dirty words that rhyme with consortium. The second and more predictable reaction is violence. Luckily, I'm an expert at avoidance, and have managed to pull off enough unannounced exits to retain almost all of my teeth. I was debating the risk of my continued residency on this knife's edge when I came face to chrome with the aforementioned Circle agents. Few are invited to delve beneath the neon crust of the Fulcrum's more populous areas, and I have always been glad to not be one of them. The agents had no interest in my protests. Hiking through the unit halls of this fallen kingdom has a way of making a person feel about as significant as a mote of dust, not to mention the unmistakable paranoia that radiates from every dark corner. It is like being at once both inside the belly of a whale and between the eyes of a tiger. Eventually, we emerged onto a grand platform that spanned a far greater chasm. At the far end Atop a simple throne sat the king of nowhere himself, the Deathless. I, like most who live here, have never seen the man in person before. It is not an experience I would recommend. In place of a crown, he wears a wreath of tentacles that rise up from his back into the metallic guts of the fulcrum itself. His face is like chipped ice, save for those eyes that burn right through you. As he stared at me, I began to fear that I'd only been brought there so he could watch while his followers tossed me into the vanishing abyss below. Instead, he asked that I come closer. As I reluctantly approached, he spoke. He told me of the Circle did not come here to build a kingdom of secrets, that he was glad that my reports had been published, and that the people of New Eden needed to be prepared for the truth. In my experience, truth is a mirror, with as many faces as there are people looking. I asked him why he didn't just tell people the truth himself. Declaration is the folly of empires, he replied, and silence the hubris of tyrants. Only discovery sparks understanding. As he spoke, I felt it resonate through my very bones. Is that why you brought all these infomorphs here? I asked, my mouth deciding on the question before my brain had a chance to intervene. It's one reason, he responded, and as he spoke, the chasm below creaked out a discordant note. The Deathless twitched, and I was reminded for a moment that I was speaking to a human being, or at least something close enough to one, that to be still capable of flinching. We have no purpose, if our purpose is not guidance, he said, perhaps to me, but perhaps not. He told me that the Fulcrum was, quote, a home for New Eden's lost, broken, and abandoned. I wondered if he counted himself among that number. He continued, the path we walk must be built by many hands and many minds. Those who have seen the failures of what has been invited to build what will be. Even if this means the consortiums comes gunning for you, I asked. Rumor is that they're lobbying Concord to explode anyone caught with one of their infomorphs. Material desires have locked them into a single dimension of thought, trapped on an axis of rising profit. They slam the doors shut, but we are already on the other side. Pretty cryptic for one so interested in speaking the truth. I have witnessed much. Now meaning must be condensed. 3 worlds will not balance on the tip of a meat tongue. A strange message to leave the people of New Eden. Only a statement. My message is this. You are not safe. Though the air lies still, pressure builds unseen. The storm will break. When it does, thunderous silence will echo through the cluster. Be skeptical, be prudent, but be ready. I returned to the bright surface waters of our Jovian Colossus only to be washed up on the shores of a bottle. The more time that passed and the emptier that bottle became, the less certain I was that I had not dreamt the entire encounter. Truth is a fickle lover, and subjectivity a willing accomplice. This will be my last submission from Zarzak, not because I'm being chased out, but because I'm not. Or, not because I'm being chased out, because I'm not, but because if a storm really is coming, I need to speak with the people it hits, not stay cooped up in here. Maybe I'll see you there. News in brief. Rash of equipment thefts reported across Equinox workforce colonies. Coordinated operations suspected. Equinox colony administrators appeal for supplementary security denied by Upwell as deemed untenable. Upwell lobbies Concord to declare physical infomorph transportation as a violation of embodiment statutes in the Uli Accord. Core Complexion Incorporated CEO Inoxer Strident announced launch of Sebester Promising Youth Outreach Program. Caldari Mountain Faction proposes tougher internal security sweeps. Caldari Electoral Commission's reluctant to set dates, says reason are classified. Rumors of FIO involvement in postponement. SOCT Commission's new space-time anomaly tracking research project. And that is it for our New Eden news for November 21st, YC126. Now for some analysis. So, this is the third, I think, report that we've gotten from this lady in the Fulcrum. This one is a lot less flowery in the way, she's not looking for a Pulitzer Prize Award in her writing in this one. But it is still, it goes into a lot of information. One of the things that did stand out to me just a little bit, is this statement about the storm will break, and when it does, thunderous silence will echo. That reminded me of, if you go into the Erebus description, there is a prophecy known as the prophecy of Macapper, right? And the prophecy of Macapper, one of the first prophecies was the roaring stone that silences the world, which was this meteorite that caused a bunch of people on a planet to lose their hearing. However, the final piece of the prophecy is recreated on the description of the Erebus, where it says, "From the formless void's gaping maw there springs an entity, not an entity such as you can conceive of, nor I, an entity more primordial than the elements themselves, yet constantly coming into existence even as it is destroyed. It is the child of chaos, the pathway to the next. The darkness shall swallow the land, and in its wake there will follow a storm, as the appetite of nothing expands over the world. From the formless void's gaping maw there springs an entity." So I've long since believed, and there has been pretty close connections between the rise of the drifters and the Triglavians with the final phases of the prophecy of Macapper. I don't actually, this isn't the final one. The final one was the dark light of the mother, I think. But either way, so I wonder whether or not that's a reference to this. That idea of like the thunder of silence and the idea of the coming of the storm did remind me of the prophecy of Macapper. In addition to that, so in the news in brief, we see the rash of equipment thefts very likely to be related to what's coming with the Vanguard Groundbreak event. The supplementary security denied by Upwell. So this is like mercenary dens, probably. Upwell lobbies Concord to declare physical infomorph transportation as a violation of embodiment statutes in ULI Accord. It's a very interesting idea. They talk about it in the main body too, because she asks the Deathless about it. It actually introduces kind of an interesting concept. I don't think it would be one of those things where you just get concorded if you have it. That doesn't really make sense. The only thing that gets you concorded is if you're a criminal, like criminal flag. But there is a legality system. There's a contraband system that does exist, and it still exists, although a lot of the contraband got removed. Most of the drugs used to be contraband, but now it's not. But for instance, if we go to protein delicacies, we can see that protein delicacies are illegal in the areas of Sisters of Eve, the Syndicate, the Galente Federation, and OR. So, for instance, if you're caught with protein delicacies in the Galente Federation, you'll lose some standings. It'll confiscate the stuff if you're in 0.8 or above. And it's a fine of 120% of the estimated market value of the stuff that you get caught with. So, when the Deathless was first coming out, I was speculating about like a whole new concept of piracy and like re-envisioning or reinvigorating this smuggling idea. And it's also worth noting that the Tholos and the Cenotaph both have a roll bonus of immune to cargo scanners, as well as the Boo Book, which was the first ship that got introduced associated with the Deathless. Really? Whatever. We'll just go to this one then. The Boo Book, which is an advanced shuttle, but it too has. Oh, it doesn't say it here, but the Boo Book is immune to cargo scanners. That should probably be posted somewhere. This does say that It is more effective smuggler than small volume cargoes past custom checks and blockades. Has it been? I don't think so. Where's the ship tree? Hold on. Nope. You think it should be? Probably. Although the Boo Book was never really official. Like, they didn't officially say it, but yeah, it'd be an interesting idea to do that for sure. Although, here's my counterpoint, okay? Ready? If I look up the ship tree and I go to Blood Raiders, I see the first thing is the Kruger, and it goes up from there. But if I... Oh, God, now I don't remember the name of it. Hold on. No to the Corvette, fair enough, yeah. You knew where I was going. I have a lot of Corvettes. Oh, here we go. I don't, it's not the, I have the Sancha one? Yeah. So if I go to Sancha, you don't see the immolator, but it is here. Now, granted, almost nobody's going to use this. Almost nobody even has this, but they do exist. So I think that we could classify the Boo Book in the same category as those Corvettes, probably. Scan immunity does not stop customs. That is a good point, Lorelite, although maybe they'll be fixing that. They need to completely refactor the legality system. Maybe they'll just, maybe they can just put in a thing that makes it so that it ignores it if it has this, the doodad that makes it so they can't scan it. Because you're right, the contraband system was not designed with the idea of unscannable ships in mind, but it does feel like they're going in that direction, doesn't it? It is a limited edition ship, that's true. But there are other limited edition ships that are on here, like all of the Concorde ships and all of the SOCT ships. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it already has a flag, right? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Let's see. Okay, the SOCT shuttle is up, though. Yeah, that's fair, but they do keep giving that one away. So here, let's see. I bet you we can find the flag. Cargo scan resistance of 1. There it is. So you would just have to check for that and throw away the result if you see it. Either way, moving on. Core Complexion announces a launch of Sebaster Promising Youth Outreach Program. Unsure of where this is going. There's always stuff going on in the Mimitar Republic, and it's hard to necessarily pin down what it is that they're trying to do. But yeah. Caldari Mountain Faction proposes tougher internal security sweeps. So the Mountain Faction is, if we go to my lore page and go to organizations, the Mountain Faction is the JLCL partnership, which is the Calikiota and Sukavesta. So KK and Suvi, which are the two largest mega corporations in New Eden. And I think that they mostly were building... they got a contract to build and Quaif. Everfresh, a partnership between mega corporations. Oh, yeah, there's like A partnership between them and Quaif. That's suspicious. But yeah, don't know if that'll pay off or anything. Did I? Oh yeah. Galente Electoral Commission reluctant to set date. This is an interesting one. Okay, so next year is an election year for the Galente Federation. The last time we had an election, Celis Agard was elected. However, this is where we get into high tinfoil, okay? I have a high tinfoil theory when this statement sets off my spidey senses for tinfoil. Let's go into this. Ironically enough, I'm going to get my opportunity to show this off. Hold on. Oh, no. I probably waited too long, and now it's like, now it's got to refresh everything, and it's going to reset. Ugh. Hold on. Where are you? There you are. Now, Celis Agard has been a very controversial president. She has some pretty big enemies, especially the Intaki representative Belleron. But she also has some pretty strong allies. She has done a lot to increase the industry power of the Galente Federation, especially through automation, which did end up having some problems with like putting people out of jobs, but made the Federation a lot stronger overall. She also controversially basically broke the ULI or the Concord agreements and the Emergency Militia War Powers Act to seize control over Intaki, which has continued to be a controversy ever since. So she's a pretty embattled president at this point. However, I would like to introduce you, if you don't know, to Mentis Black. Mentis Black is the head of the FIO, the Black Ops department of the Galente Federation. He created the Black Eagles. And Mentis Black is one of those people who have been in the picture since like at least 2008. Now, what's interesting is that last election was disrupted by a series of attacks during right before the election. So if I go back to my lore page, we go to events. In YC122, where is it? No? Did I not get it? Am I crazy? Did I just not continue? Darn it. Anywho, so the previous election had a series of attacks where all but two of the candidates were there was an attempted assassination on all of the candidates except for two. One of them was the player candidate, Julius Soder, who's a longstanding pro-Galente character. And the other person was Mentis Black, who ran for presidency, but didn't really work too hard about it. I would say. He didn't get a ton of votes, but I always found it kind of interesting that he was one of the two people that didn't have an attempt on his life during that event. The other thing that's really interesting about that assassination attempt was that they successfully assassinated Celis Agard. She was one of the people that got hit and killed by a bomb, I think it was. And so she had to get restored from a backup clone. So Celis Agard dies, and it has to be, brought back via clone with lost memory, and then wins the presidency. So there's always been this kind of conspiracy theory about, like, well, did she get replaced? Is this a body double? Are we sure that this is Celis Agard? Did they do something to her to make her more malleable? Mentis Black was also surprising to go for presidency because he's not really a in the front kind of guy. He's a background manipulator, right? Okay. So with all that said, I find it super interesting that it is the FIO is involved in the postponement, because if you want to assume that Mentis Black was involved in the installing of Celis Agard as the president and the controlling of her, if you want to assume that, which I'm not necessarily saying is true, but that matches this in the fact that, like, well, maybe they're trying to delay the election because they have some plans for what they want to do before they lose power, right? So hard to say exactly, but the election is coming up, so that's going to be something to watch very closely, especially after what happened last time. And the last one is the SOCT Commission's new Spacetime Anomaly Tracking Research Project. That is actually based off of the previous New Eden news, where when the warden woke up, I don't know if I can find it off the top of my head or real quick, but it says, here we go. Though there are no longer, nope, that's the Atavum. They talk about how there were a bunch of anomalies in space-time that then stabilized. And so there's been some questions about whether or not this is drifters operating. Is this an effect of the warden resonating with the different Atavum that's out there in the world? Something happened that caused a bunch of space-time anomalies right as the warden was waking up, and then it stabilized. So I assume that the SOCT, which, here we go, simultaneously with the warden's reveal, the Society of Conscious Thought has reported observing minor shifts or ripples in space-time across New Eden. These ripples quickly stabilized, but Ademisphere, CEO of the SOCT, has expressed concern. The original purpose of this structure remains a mystery, but its powerful potential is evident. We cannot trust such an incredible artifact at the whims of the irrelevant criminals such as the Deathless Circle. And also, we do know now, with everything we've learned about the Deathless, that the SOCT and the Deathless are very tightly connected. The Deathless used to be a member of the SOCT. So there's a pretty decent possibility that the SOCT has known about what's going on for quite some time and has been working against the Deathless and manipulating us against the Deathless for quite some time. So, but with all that in mind, they are, doing their monitoring thing now. And now I've lost where I was at. And I believe that that's it, right? Yeah, that's the last one. All right. Well, that's it for the New Eden news and analysis. I have been Astrothi, the voice of New Eden. Please make sure to like the video if you do like it. If you're watching this live, hang tight. If you're watching the pre-recorded version of this, thank you guys for checking it out. Like the video and comment down below, where do you think the presidential election is going to go? Do you think that Celis Agard is going to win it? Do you think somebody else is going to come in? Do you think that Black has something in mind? Let me know down below. But with all that said, I've been Astrothi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. Whee! All right. Sweet. Oh no, it seems like a random black hammer was just dropped on Mr. Black's location. Oh boy. All right. I want to spend the rest of this time talking a little bit about Eve Galaxy Conquest, if that's all right with you guys. Look, I finally got my recording going. This actually, like, the reason why I wasn't able to stream a couple of days was because, so I got this tool. I use Phone Link from Microsoft. It was like built into Windows to link to my phone. And I was like, this is amazing. I can't wait. Or, you know, this is great. I love it. And then on Tuesday, when there was a lot of stuff going on, and I really wanted to like build a video, or no, Monday, whatever it was, I was going to record a video, and it just kept on saying, oh, can't work, can't work, can't work. I Google all this stuff. I do hours of tech support to try to make it work. I try it on both my devices. I try it on both my computers. Nothing works. And there's now people talking about how it doesn't work at different times and stuff. And I'm just like, I can't even deal with this. But I did manage to find a different tool that allows me to do this. It's called Screen Copy, SCRCPY. You can DM me on Discord if you want more information about how to set it up, but it's really, really easy. And now I can just have my game on the you know, mirror my computer, mirror my tablet on the computer. So hold on a second. Let me just send somebody out to go deal with this escort squad. I do want to answer a couple of questions, or we can talk about a couple things when it comes to Eve Galaxy Conquest. I did come out with my how to build a fleet and top tips to get started, you know, have a strong start in Eve Galaxy Conquest. Both of those have gotten a lot of really positive feedback. And I put out a couple of fleet guides, also got some positive feedback. I'd love to hear more ideas of topics or strategies that I should cover. But one of the things I get asked about the most is, what about implants and rigs? So let's talk about implants and rigs. Implants and rigs are the one piece of the fleet that I kind of didn't really talk about. Characters have implants. They get 3 of them. And ships get rigs. They get 3 of them. Okay? Now, the rigs come in 3 qualities, 4 qualities. You've got maybe 5? Is there white? Yes. Whatever. They're white, blue, yeah, white, green, blue, purple, and gold. You know, that your standard rarity sets. And there are 3 slots for it: electronic, engineering, and aerospace. And there are different sets that have different bonuses. On top of that, the different ones, depending on which slot it is, may have different bonuses. So this one has HP and firepower, while this other one has firepower and energy. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to which rigs you go into and which implants you go into. And then on top of that, they also get powered up. You can see I've got 2 diamonds on this one, or 2 stars on that one, 2 stars, 2 stars. But if we go to... No, he's got the wrong implants. Her implants have 3 stars. So whites and greens can be upgraded, or greens can be upgraded once, blues can be upgraded. Sorry, whites can be upgraded once, greens can be upgraded twice, blues can be upgraded 3 times, golds can't be upgraded. Or I guess purples can be upgraded 4 times, probably. But so the biggest thing to bear in mind when it comes to implants and rigs, and this is kind of one of the things that broadly I've had the most difficulty wrapping my head around, which is that they only affect that person or the ship, not anything else. Okay. So if I get this kinetic bonus on this and I put it on her, that won't affect the ship at all. It doesn't matter what sort of things it has. Right. So this has some interesting implications because you'll need to pay attention. So, for instance, Corvin, I had DPS rigs on him, but let's look at his abilities, right? This reduces incoming damage. This removes a debuff. And this repairs people. Corvin does no damage. Corvin does no damage at all, which is weird because that means so this offense is stackable. Like he doesn't make any attacks. He cannot attack. So any damage bonuses to him won't do anything unless it's offense and or tactics. And the reason why is because he's my lead commander, and only the lead commander's offense and tactics apply to the whole fleet. So him raising his own offense with cover tactics is good, but it's only good when he is the main commander. So that means he needs to be the main commander, and he also needs to not have DPS implants. Whereas Yana does attack with this one, deal damage to enemy wings. This one doesn't do anything damage-wise. This one also increases damage as dealt. So, hold on, what's her implants? Yeah, so she too doesn't have really enough damage to make things worthwhile to magnify her damage. So with her, my main focus was data rate. I want her to go really, really fast because I want her to go first, right? So when I built her set, not only did I go with data rate, but I went and looked for specifically the data rate set. I can go here and like filter by data rate. Yeah, this data rate, right? Yeah. I can filter by data rate, and I specifically looked for the implants that had the best data rate on them as well, because making her go fast is basically the only thing that it can do, right? These offense and tactics, completely fucking worthless to her. The only thing that really matters to her is data rate. This is one of the things I really wish that they rebalanced when it comes to this stuff. And who knows, maybe hopefully they have rebalanced this at some point. But there's a lot of implants that just aren't useful for a lot of people because of their abilities, right? But likewise, the rigs won't affect the people at all, only the ship's abilities. So something to keep in mind. Now, one of my favorite rigs to keep around is, of course, these siege rigs. Because siege rigs, so when you're attacking a structure, there's two phases. You have to first kill the escort fleets, but then you have to siege the structure. And the structure has its own set of hit points. But the ship does... it doesn't matter how powerful the ship is, right? Like this guy right here, he's one of my most powerful fleets in my entire setup, okay? He has 671 power. He can mess people up. But he only does 150 siege damage. He does the same amount of siege damage as anybody else. If I threw a brand new person into those ships, they would also do 150 siege damage. But if I go here to this Algos, I can see that it does 210 siege damage. So because of the fact that I have been having to do like swapping between sieging and combat all the time, now the Algos can also, if I go to home, you can actually, like the Algos, you can see has a siege bonus. It's kind of hard to see under, here we go. Has a siege bonus. So you can, in theory, change it to the siege formation. And now it does 413 damage. And that's without anybody who can do siege. If I swap out these two pilots for pilots that have siege, I'll get to do even more, right? So that's pretty good. That's a big hit. Those are incredibly useful, and your fleets, your corporation will be very happy that you send siege ships that can do this much damage. However, siege ships go at half speed and are severely weakened in battle. Everything is strong against siege ships. So, because of the fact that I've been kind of on the move a lot and swapping between sieging and assaulting, I just keep it in assault mode a lot and still have 200 siege. So if something has 400 hit points, it's only 2 siege modes. And it still does more damage than it would if it was just by itself. So that's a strategy that you can go for. Likewise with this one. So I've said before, and this is a setup that I'll go more into later, but Menz and Amelie are, father and daughter. And I used to say, or, my joke is everybody else is playing Eve Galaxy Conquest as a strategy game where they're trying to, seize control over Jita and fight against powerful corporations for the accumulation of power. I'm playing the game and I'm following the continuing journey of Menz and his daughter going out into space and fighting all of the pirates in the galaxy. So, because of that, they've been kind of my anti-pirate team. So I have anti-pirate rigs, damage to pirates plus 16, and I have anti-pirate, well, he's got kinetic implants. She's got anti-pirate implants. He does damage, right? Yes. You have a meal in a griffin? Ah, well, hold on. Does that work? Yeah, that's honestly probably better, but I just like the Corax. Hold on. Yeah, so they're encirclement. Yeah, the Griffin isn't encirclement though. So that's why I went with the Corax, because it's the same, like they have the encirclement synergy. But yeah, I mean, with the Griffin is really strong, so it may ultimately not matter that that bonus. So yeah. With this setup is all about keeping myself alive, right? So these rigs, once again, this is another siege ship. You can see siege ship. So because it's a siege ship, I put siege rigs on it, because what else are you going to put on it? But for Santa Mona, I have repair implants. Because Santa Mona is really big in healing people, all of her abilities heal people, I gave her healing rigs or implants, and likewise gear. I also gave healing implants, so that way they can just keep people alive. Oh, Mila, yeah, not Emil. My bad. You got Mila and Emil. Got it. Now these guys are kind of my scrappy heavy hitters, my Dramiel team, which I talked about in my Dramiel video. But my rigs for these guys, I've got firepower rigs, because the Dramiel's all about hitting over and over and over and over and over again. So in this case, I wanted to increase my firepower. Yeah, I wanted to increase the firepower of via rigs. And with Yorlis, I went for kinetic rigs because he hits like a truck over and over again. And for Vepis, once again, so Vepis is, I mean, he does do some offensive stuff, but his biggest thing is like, so he's got force shield. He's got this counterattack when people do force field or break force shield, but it's the commander with the highest offense, right? Which if we look, he's got the highest offense, so it's not even going to be him attacking, right? Force shield, also no damage there. This one does do damage, but it's the only one. So instead, because he puts up force shields, I wanted him to go first. So I went with data rate implants. So overall, you just kind of look to see what the ship or the person does. Why isn't this closing? What's going on? What the heck? What? That's so weird. All right, hold on. White or gold siege rig sets give them the same 60 siege damage, so don't sell those white-green siege rigs. Yeah, that's true. A lot of, like, when it comes to siege, it's actually kind of easy to get somebody up to speed when it comes to siege. I don't actually recommend selling or using up any rigs until you have a big supply of them. You'll just want to kill all of the pirates that you can at the highest level you can and just collect a whole bunch of rigs. Remember, your inventory stays in between seasons, so there's no real reason to just get rid of rigs, for the record. Also, rigs are useful. Rigs are required for upgrading. So, yeah, you don't sell your rigs. All right. Where were we? My final team. So the Dragoon. What rigs do I have on here? Oh yeah, again, I didn't really know what to put on the Dragoon. The drones are not it, so I don't think that the drones get affected by damage. Although maybe it does, but whatever. This does kinetic damage and does the neural shutdown. This does damage. This increases critical chance and kinetic damage. So I could go with like kinetic rigs if I wanted to increase my damage. But because Pommic does do a lot of healing and protection, but I don't have any force shields to protect me, I actually went with hit point rigs in order to try to keep my ship a little bit tankier, with the idea that like not losing as many squads means I heal them faster. Firepower could be good for sure, absolutely, but I went with survivability with this setup, especially since the majority of my firepower for this fleet comes from Camille. So, but I did focus on firepower when it came to the stats that they did, I think. Well, maybe not. Whatever. Maybe I should review that one. Pommic, once again, healer. Gets healing rigs. In fact, he got my best healing rig. Yay. And then Kamul. Now, let me tell you about Kamul. Kamul's really, really good, guys. Kamul is one of the best, if not the best, epic, depending on who you ask. She is pretty nasty. Her biggest one is like, where is it? She does this like group gang up attack, which is pretty good, as well as does a huge kinetic damage burst with this attack if it hits the correct wing, and also comes with 2 force shields, so that helps keep them alive a little bit. And then also you can do the burn and corrosion from her, which is going to do probably energy damage, but it says kinetic damage because why not? But either way, the point is that a lot of people even believe that Kamul might be better than Ketsti in combination with Pommic. That's why I actually switched to this, especially since she can easily get full red stars when it's harder to get a legendary up to 4 red stars. So, yeah. And that is my current fleets and their setups and their rigs and implants and why I went with them. Let me know if you have any tips for rigs and implants, or if I was silly and should change them in some way. Let me know. I'm new to the game. I'm just trying to learn. This is just what I've come up with so far. But yeah, so that's how that works. By selling them, you get implant rig crafting mats, and it can be okay to sell them in-game to craft more purple golds. Yeah, that's true. However, I'm not convinced that the manufacturing of implants is worth it yet. The problem is that like it takes a crap ton of resources and a bunch of ISK. Maybe at this far into the game that I'm at right now, it could be worth it. Don't they cost 150,000 ISK? Yeah, 150,000 ISK. So it's a big ask to do it. You could get one of the best uses of 150,000 ISK is right here in the Interbus market every day. It gives you 20 epic decryption keys for 150,000 ISK, which epic decryption keys get used to unlock both legendary and epic abilities. So those are super useful. But assuming that you're as late into the game as I am, then maybe this manufacturing implants start to be worthwhile. I'm not there yet. There's a small chance to get gold rigs when crafting a purple. That is correct. Okay, so I want to try to take this level 9. Do I have time to do this now that I think about it? People have been asking me about this too. So this is how I try to do a level 9. Now level 9s and 10s, okay? Level 9s and 10s are pretty hard. As you can see, it comes with 2 fleets at 482 power each. Now, granted, my guys are like 600 power, so in theory, they should do good. But if something goes wrong, the first fleet can weaken them, the second fleet can kick their butt. Also, if you get a Santa Mona in there, they can get locked down or caught up in a draw. So, here's how I do this. I'm going to first check the thing and see, okay, well, the first guys here wants a recommended formation of this. Now, I don't know what the second fleet is going to be, but I do know what the first fleet is going to be. It's going to be these guys. So I'm going to go with my recommended formation of Intercept, and I'm going to take him and, first of all, bring him home. Whoopsie. And speed him up. So he's going to be assigned first to capture this, okay? However, it's going to take a little while. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I should have done this earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my other fleets next door. So what I can do is I can watch the fight. Like, he goes in and he fights him. And if he loses or draws, I can then open up the log, which this is incredibly important. Like, learning how to read the log is very big. I can go into the logs and see what it is that defeated him, right? So if I come here, I can see like, okay, well, this is actually a level 9 that I did that to. So I sent in this setup first, even though it was the exact same setup as before, but whatever, other than I'm doing right now. So they killed the first team, but then got to the Santa Mona team and got a draw. So I was like, well, okay. The Santa Mona team is phalanx, so I'm going to want to use an encirclement, right? Hold on. Whatever. Maybe that's a bad example. But in the end, I used, you saw that, like, I sent in a fleet that I wanted to counter this fleet, right? So that's kind of what I do in order to beat the higher end things. It doesn't always work. Where is it? There was one time that I went, here's another good example. Yeah, this is one where I didn't win, because this one was a victory, but then this one drew, and then this one also drew, and I was just like, I got to get out of here. Or no, then it was, yeah, then I was defeated. So, doesn't always work, which is why it's always important to have plenty of components laying around. But let's talk a little bit about the logs, okay? So first of all, this is the report from battle. You can see both teams, and I can see each of the different modules and see what they've done, right? So some of these modules do damage, and you can see how much damage they did. Some of these modules heal, and you can see how much healing they did. But some of these modules don't do either, but either way, you get to see how many times they triggered, right? So my drones triggered once and did 3,401 damage. My neutralizing pulse projector fired 3 times and did 2,799 damage, okay? Now, Now, to get a better idea of what happened, by the way, you can also look at it this way, which shows you a bit more of an aggregate. But here is the log, where this allows you to see every single thing that's happening. And this is really critical because a lot of stuff in this game is kind of worded confusing and it's still very new. We're still all learning how this works, right? So the logs show exactly what is happening. Now, you can switch between the different turns and all that stuff. The prepare phase is what happens at the very beginning. It applies all of the basic buffs and debuffs and all that sort of stuff that is applied to these different characters or to the various stuff. And then you get first turn. So we can see that at turn 1, my combat drone got quick response, so it gets to go first, and then initiates direct fire, hits, and then it's done. Then Flatherly gets to initiate his action. He gets both virus decryption, control, sorry, not both. He gets all 3 of his abilities fire off: virus decryption, control removal, and dynamic destruction. And then Pommick gets to go. Nothing of Pommick's triggers. Kamul gets to go. Nothing of Kamul triggers, right? Because there's only a percentage chance. So both of them basically did nothing this turn. And then Serb did, had his chances increased, but didn't do anything. And then the Oracle goes and gets to shoot its lasers and its HEP beam laser, and then it's direct fire. So the ships always get a direct fire, and sometimes other stuff. So the Dragoon gets direct fire and neutralizing pulse projector. Cool. Combat drone still has quick response in turn 2, so it gets to go first. Hits. First the Oracle takes damage from the electromagnetic storm, but then fires. Fatherly gets to go. He gets virus decryption and control removal. Pommick and Kamul does nothing again, so maybe this is why this fight didn't go that well. Serb gets self-destruction and combustion strike. Oracle gets tachyon beam laser and direct fire, and then the Dragoon gets direct fire and neutralizing pulse projector, and that's it. But if you look, those 2 hits, the direct fire and the pulse projector are mitigated by these 2 force shields here. Then in turn 3, the combat drone's quick response expires and then gets it again. So it takes damage from the burn and electromagnetic storm, but then gives its fire. Oppression. I don't know what oppression means. I don't know what the oppression is. I think I've asked about this before, but either way, maybe I think it's probably one of those 2 people's abilities. Fatherly initiated action. Virus blah blah blah. Oh yeah, Fatherly doesn't do anything this turn. Pommick gets to do something. He gets his repair finally, and then Kamul gets something. He did ally combat, so both her and Pommick attack with the allied combat move. So that does pretty good. Serb gets to. All he does is his command bonus increase expires, but nothing else. The Oracle gets 2 more force shields, tachyon beam laser, direct fire, and then the Dragoon heals a little bit from the automated repair when it and takes. Interesting. Takes damage from the electromagnetic storm. Does its direct fire, but doesn't do anything because the Oracle has its force shield. It should still have 1 more force shield. Is that true? I would expect the Oracle to still have a force shield in the next shot, but it doesn't. Oh, no, because wait. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can see that the combat drone takes damage from its dots and then does its fire, but it does 0 damage. That's the second force shield. Then Fatherly initiates its actions, doesn't get it. Oh, does get to dynamic destruction, which does some more damage. Pomik doesn't do anything. Kamul does her allied combat again, which allows both of them to attack, and her support attack, which yeah, does damage, and she also prepares her penetration strategy, which is her big attack. Serb then doesn't do anything besides increase his chance to do stuff. Oracle then gains 2 more force shields and shoots its tachyon beam and its direct fire. So you really see how much effect that those 2 force shields from the Oracle is getting every turn. The Dragoon gets its damage, and then it fires and doesn't do anything because force shield. Now in turn 5, the drone no longer has first turn advantage, so Fatherly gets to go first. Removes, does control removal and dynamic destruction, doing a bunch of damage. Pomik does a repair effect, but unfortunately already has those effects in action. So, meh. Then Kamul finally launches her penetration strategy, which applies burn and corrosion. That isn't her big hit. That was the other one. Serb does his self-destruct, which is his big hit. Oracle then gains 2 more force shields, and then takes no damage from the burn and corrosion. So immediately, those 2 dots burn through its force shields immediately, which is kind of nice. Then he does his laser beam and direct fire. The Dragoon, that sucks. So here's something to pay attention to. If you look here, this automated repair effect doesn't get put on because a duplicate one is put on, but then it expires before it does anything. That kind of blows. There are a lot of abilities in this game that aren't necessarily as good as they look like on paper, right? Dragoon receives, from burn. The Dragoon gets to do a direct fire, but still hits a force shield? It had 3 force shields? Huh. And then a neutralizing pulse projector that does neural shutdown. Then, at turn 6, a whole bunch of other extra stuff gets procced. Fatherly does his thing. Pomik does his thing. So you can see kind of how this plays out, right? All the way through. And then at the very end, we see Kamul launches force field shot, does enough damage to reduce it to 0, and then it says, you win! Okay? So that is kind of how to go through the logs. It's really important to do that to kind of see how your abilities work out. So here's an interesting piece to that, right? So we see this and we see, okay, well, this has a chance to affect neural shutdown, a control effect that disables active modules or talents, right? Deals kinetic damage to a single enemy wing after initiating direct fire. 30% chance to inflict neural shutdown on the target for 2 turns. So the problem with this is, and this is the problem with a lot of abilities, when you're looking at the abilities, this is something that was pointed out to me this morning, and I'm pretty sure is true. So something that might be worth keeping in mind. Remember, the pilots and the ships are separate, and the pilots cannot be attacked, right? I said before that each of the pilots is their own wing. I think that that was corrected. There's really only one wing unless there's drones, which is one of the reasons why drones is so strong, because things that attack only one wing can have a 50-50 chance of attacking the wrong target, as it were. But the problem here is that this means that this neural shutdown cannot hit a pilot. This can only affect the enemy ship. So that's something to keep in mind. There are some things that, like a lot of these, a lot of abilities are tied to attacks. Either way, you get what I'm saying. The point is pay attention to what is doing things, because a pilot is never attacked, and only ships are. And we're getting close to being able to see how this works. We're about 5 minutes out. What's this? Oh, cool. Any questions, comments, concerns while we're waiting for this? Anything else I should cover? Talk about? Otherwise, we're just waiting. One of the things, this is why I like to have multiple accounts, because when I'm waiting for something, I can always just pop over to one of my other accounts for a few minutes and see if there's anything to do there. Intel leak. Oh no. Upgraded implants and rigs cannot be sold. That's good to know. All right. Let's see. Oh, the growth fund is such a pain. Like, this one's the only slimy one where it's like it makes you go and like look at each thing, even if you're not going to buy it. I've got a fleet there. That's good. You can tell I ignore this setup more than the others. So you can see that I have 50 action points. That's bad. Let's go ahead and spend some of them. Never mind. Hold on. 7. Boom. And Serb levels up. Sweet. Leveling up. Oh, Vault full, also bad. Look, this is my second account, all right? This is the account that I dink around with when the other one's busy. I'm still, like, I have headquarters level 10, and I show up to sieges, okay? And other stuff. I'm just not 100% tryharding it. I do appreciate your judgment, though. Hold on. My puppy's about to fall off my lap. All right. Don't worry. You're okay. You're okay. You're just about to fall off my lap. That's all. So I like to just kind of go like this. Send them all. Oh, wait. Hold on. Shit. Oh, wait. No. I sent him. I sent him to the rally. Okay, good. For a second there, I thought I sent... That is one of the things that frustrates me, is that if you send somebody that's out somewhere to a pirate, the only way to get out of it is to go home, which sucks. All right. That said, let's head back over to the other account so we don't miss out. One minute and 30 seconds left. Now, this guy might just take this. By the way, resorts are harder than anything else. They're also ISK, which in the end, ISK is probably one of the most valuable resources once you are in endgame state like this. Public Fleet Shipyard is being attacked by Minotaur players. they having fun? Vexer's got a draw? Who would have been surprised by that? By the way, the counter to the Vexers is repair disabled. It's a balance. I have much ISK and need more resource grids. What I'm saying is that, like, end game, like we already have captured our level 9 station. So for like the rest of the cycle, we're basically just accumulating wealth for the end of for the season wrap up, where ISK is really useful. Or at least that's what I've been told. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. All right. So we're going to watch to see how it does. He got injured. Okay, great. So what do we got? He won against that and then lost against Oracles. Oracles is encirclement, so I need attack, right? So we're going to send in Comic. See how that works. You only have 2.5 minutes to get the job done, which is why I positioned the guys right there. Boom, done. See? It's that easy. Now I have another resort. And I get to just send everybody else home. Cool. That is basically what I had to show you guys today. I hope this was useful to you. Like I said, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else that you would like me to cover about Eve Galaxy Conquest, or any specific strategies you think are really good for me to look at, or things I might have missed or gotten wrong. I know I got some things wrong on the previous one, but like I said, this is all very, very new. This is a new game, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't quite work the way that you would expect it to. There's still some bugs here and there. So make sure to keep watching this show, subscribe to the channel. I will keep you guys up to date as things come. Now that we're a little bit deeper into it, I haven't covered patch notes so far, but I will in the future. I'm really excited about no drama today. I was promised drama. When were you promised drama? Who promised you drama? What drama? I don't know drama. At any rate, so I think that's it. I think that's all I had. Drama recap. Oh, God. Oh, God. Let me tell you guys a little story. So, to begin this story, we got to talk about what our plans were from the very beginning, okay? So, here is the Eve Galaxy Conquest map. And we can see that there is, oh gosh, shh. Either way. So we can see that there's a bunch of sites. Sync Liaison, sorry, the Forge is nullsec, Devoid, Sync Liaison, and Conid is highsec and derelict. And then Caldari, Galente, Amar, and Mimitar are highsec. So the main goal is, of course, to take Jita, which is this target right here, right? That's Jita 4-4. Now, that is not the only goal in this whole situation, right? If we look at the season missions, we can see that while the major goal is owning Jita, or better yet, owning Jita and 2 other regional stations, or even better yet, all 8 regional stations, there is a smaller goal, which is this one right here. Nope, not that one. This one, which is you get the better season box. Like there's 3 different season boxes. There's the weakest one, which you just get for having your station be at level 10. Wait. Yeah, whatever. What's the difference between 9 and 10? Either way, as long as your base is level 10 or whatever, you get the engagement crate. However, if you catch a regional station, you get the sovereignty crate. So it's a better crate. You also get this if you have the station by this point, and this is the key one. if you have it by this timer right here, you will get this extra plex, right? Now, our goal from the very beginning, we knew that going after Jita on our first try would be a bit of an ask. I'm a big fan of always going after like a secondary objective, just so I'm not competing with the absolute most competitive hardcore people. So we made the choice to go after Conid, right? It has a regional. Is it going to load? There we go. It has a level 9 regional station, right? So this was our primary target. However, it's a level 9 station. And as you can come back to the, if I come back to the season rewards, you can see that level 9 stations, actually, I don't think you can see it, whatever. Level 9 stations don't unlock until after this check, right? So you have to capture, oh, you can actually see it here. Yeah, allows the capture of level 9 stations and stargates. So we had to have a regional station before we were allowed to take the regional station that we wanted. So what this meant was we basically kind of gave up on having this one, right? We talked about it. The only regional stations that were available were the Galente one, which was owned by 13th Legion, which would be a bad idea to go after. There's the Caldari, or the Mimitar one, which was on the literal opposite side of the universe from us. And there was the Amar one, which could theoretically be something that we go after. But we sat down, we talked about it, and we quickly were like, no, we don't want to do it. We want to focus. I suggested, I don't want us to get distracted, right? Even though we were waiting for the Conid station to unlock, like, let's just build up our forces. We're nervous about 13th or whatever. Like, let's just wait and build up where we're at. So, but then we had a friend of ours, Dutch Gunner, friend of the show, who, when all of us started out as Galente, he started out as Mimitar, and then he wanted to join us. Now, in order to join a different faction, you have to move to Lowsec or be like in the same system or the same region as the CEO of the corp that you're trying to join. There's weird arbitrary rules. But the problem is that, like, you can only use certain Stargates depending on who captures what. So the Stargates between him and us were owned by someone. And so we begin the process of kind of carving a line there so we can get that Stargate so we can bring him in and then we can be done. Okay. Unfortunately, a guy that I'm just going to refer to as the Admiral noticed this. Now, the Admiral is the head of, oh gosh, what is the name of the corporation? I don't even remember. Hold on. Ranks. Matar's Reach. So Matar's Reach owned this system, or owned the Amar station. And the Admiral here decided to talk lots of shit in the, hold on. In the official Eve Galaxy Conquest Discord, we have a special chat that's for, like, they have this for a lot of the servers, but it's like to document the history of that server. So as things happen, people post it in there. So it's like this living history of the server. It's pretty cool. Well, he decided to call us out in that environment. He started calling Malik a narcissistic, what is it? Cynical liar. He called me a liar. He was on to us that we were trying to sneak our way in so that way we could strike at the structure. And we're like, dude, we don't care about the structure. He would not shut up for like half a day. He's just outright saying the worst things about us, accusing us of lying, I'm like, look, we're not doing that. We're trying to get our friend out. And he's like, no, you're a liar. You're trying to go after the structure. And it's like, look, man, if you want to say that we're going to war with you, then, you know, we can, if that's what you want. Like, if the only thing we can do is fulfill it, then whatever. So he keeps talking shit, keeps talking shit. I come in, try to de-escalate, doesn't work. Ty comes in, wouldn't say he de-escalated, but, you know, nothing gets this guy to calm down. Everybody else in the chat can see that this dude is acting kind of like a lunatic. So anyway, that's the story as to why we own the structure. Because talk shit, get hit. We ended up, you can even see, like, as we were taking this gate to prepare for it, hold on. It is a way different place. Over here. You can see that I have an outpost called Run Your Mouth. And on the other side, of this, Malik also put one, or two rather, called Run Your Mouth, Get Hit. And we kept posting in the chat. We were like, by the way, guys, if you're in Matar's reach, this is only happening because your CEO could not shut up. So, mine says your fault. Where is it? Oh, man. We have a bunch of good ones in here. But either way, the pro tip here is, look, guys, in a strategy game, if you suspect, this is what I told him during that initial conversation. I was like, pro tip, if you suspect that somebody's going to sneak attack you, you don't loudly accuse them of it beforehand, because it makes you look like a lunatic. What you do is you quietly prepare for what you know is going to happen. And he responded with, we did prepare. And you know what? When we came through here, do you know how many turrets we found? 0. Do you know how many disruption? Well, no, not 0. We found two turrets, 2 or 3 turrets around the actual structure itself. How many disruption fields did we have on the pathway up to the structure? None. There is no symptoms of preparation whatsoever. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you end up in a corporation that's run by the admiral, don't. By the way, we attacked in a different route than the one we used to rescue our friend. That's true. But I mean, by that point, it was like, hey, that's true. Because, like, yeah, well, we were even talking about, like, oh, should we just give this structure to somebody else just to show off the fact that we didn't give a shit about it? Like, it was never about the structure. It was just about, like, well, I mean, look, man, if you're going to accuse us of something, we might as well do it. So that is, like, if people are talking about how, oh, well, you know, this game goes a certain way, or the mechanics function to power into one mega corporation or whatever, like, we're pretty late in the season at this point, and we are still having some pretty decent scuffles here and there. Now, we are pretty much in an end game, but, like, we've been scrapping it up with a little bit with the remainder of the Amar and other places too. So there is, and each server plays out differently, which is kind of cool. This is server 20. So, yeah, that's it. I think that's the story. And that is all we have for today. So I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, or this one since like 3 weeks ago. And talking about it since 2012. And I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like the stream. If you want to help make all of this possible, which as I said at the very beginning, means so much to me. Like, so much to me. I get to have a puppy because you guys support the channel. And if you want to join the people that support the channel, you can become a member, you can pick up some merch, or you can become a patron on Patreon. Get your ass around. I'm trying not to upset. But all that said, I've been Ash Rothy, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. Also, Malik's a nice guy. Don't insult him.
For every city